So I recently watched a video by Marco Style about heavy melee canceling. And this video is mostly just him correcting himself on some statements he made about this topic on a previous video of his. But watching this got me thinking about the idea of this mechanic in and of itself and whether or not it should exist in the first place. I've seen a lot of people debate about this very topic, mostly on the side of it should exist, but there have been a few that I've seen here and there stating that it shouldn't be in the game or it's too OP, etc., etc. Well, here's my 2 cents on the topic. Not that I'm anybody, or not that my opinion matters. You know, just some nobody on YouTube throwing out his opinion in the vast infiniteness of the YouTube algorithm. But here's my take on this. So, even though these two games aren't even in the same genre, I'm gonna use Team Fortress 2 as a point of reference here. Now, Valve has a history of making games where players are able to use intentional mechanics in unintentional ways. So, for example, in TF2, rocket jumping was a mechanic specifically designed and implemented into the game by Valve. But what Valve didn't foresee was that players could crouch while rocket jumping in order to propel themselves much further and higher than if they were to do it the intended way. The cool thing about this is that because of the way the intentional aspects of rocket jumping works, this unintentional way of rocket jumping isn't actually OP, which is why Valve never patched it out of the game. So in order to rocket jump in the first place, you need to fire a rocket down by your feet or next to a surface near you, which means that in exchange for mobility, you have to damage yourself in the process, spend ammo to do so, and take fall damage once you land. In Deadlock, the heavy melee canceling movement tech has that same kind of transaction dynamic, where in exchange for really good mobility, you still have to spend stamina bars. You still need to activate items and or abilities which are on a set cooldown, and you still have to deal damage... you still have to deal with damage fall off if you decide to shoot while airborne, right? If you're at a considerable distance. All in all, so long as there is this transaction dynamic of some kind, wherein players need to sacrifice core resources in order to use intended mechanics in unintended ways, I think that having things like this in Deadlock is perfectly fine. I don't think that these things should just straight up be removed from the game. There's already a lot of player agency in the form of item experimentation in this game compared to other MOBAs. And I think that the more a game is designed to be competitive, the more it generally tends to focus on quote-unquote optimizing the fun out of a game for the sake of balancing. Now, yes, fun is a very subjective term, but I'm mostly referring to a player's freedom of expression in a game versus how much a game restricts that. And I think that Deadlock is a really unique case in that it somehow manages to be a middle ground between a more casual experience, aka a game that leaves a lot of room for player agency, and a competitive experience, aka a game that's more designed in a very meta-centric type of way.